Hello, everybody. This is Michael Jenkins, and welcome to the inaugural Culture Show. Marion County is going to be sponsored by Rasta Hut and by BL Events. And I have Mr. Jermaine Key over here of BL Events, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what you guys are trying to accomplish.
Yes, first of all, I'd just like to say I'm extremely honored to be in the building tonight. I think this is a great thing we have going on here. I'm with BL Events, and what we're looking to do here, me and my partner, we wanted to bring a platform for the local schools and sports programs so they can promote their programs and explain what's going on a little bit behind the scenes. You know, some of the stuff that might not be shown in the local newspaper, give them a platform to promote everything that they have going on.
Such as, what are some of the things?
Well, you know, it's different things that come about during the season. You have players that are hurt. You have certain situations that are not under your control. And sometimes you have some really great things going on with some of the local players that you might not hear about that are doing really well and being in a small area. I'm from a small town, Marion, North Carolina, and I understand sometimes you have a lot of great talent that may not necessarily get the hype from some of the other bigger schools. So it's something we're looking to provide for this area.
Okay, so BL Events was started how, and how are you involved in this?
Okay, so with me and my partner, we have this company where we are looking to provide travel options for people. BL Events stands for Bucket List Events. We're looking to provide a venue for you to go and explore different places that you might want to go to during your time when you're on vacation and things like that. And so we're trying to show some different venues, whether it be international or domestic, but at the same time, we're still trying to make sure that we're connected to the community that we have deep connections to.
Right. So you said you are from where?
I'm from Marion, North Carolina.
Where?
Marion.
Okay, so your high school career, you played sports?
Yeah, I played high school football, Eastern Elements. Also went to Catawba College, played a little bit of ball. Did a little bit of coaching as well, not too much, not high level.
Football or basketball?
Football, just football.
Okay. So tonight is the inaugural night. What do you hope to accomplish on this first night out?
Well, as with anything, you want to kind of get the kinks out. If you're going to do some stuff wrong, do it wrong early. So we want to go ahead and have this inaugural show and give the coaches an opportunity to talk about their programs, and hopefully this will be something you can take forward for years to come.
Right. Anything else you want to share with us in regards?
No, awesome.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Lord.
Yes, nice to meet you.
Good meeting you too. Okay. So I want to go to the coaches next. Certainly. Okay.
Coach Turkey, talking about the security of the game and some of the security measures that Marion County would be taking to make sure that the fans are safe.
You're live. Okay. I'm here with Coach Leon Sturkey, former Coach Leon Sturkey, but I guess once you've been a coach, you're always a coach.
I don't think that ever changes.
Really? Of course, you remember Sturkey, you coached at Marion High School, Lady Swamp Foxes back in the day to the state championship 2 times, and you won one of them.
Correct.
Do you still remember those days? Is this something that comes to you on a regular basis?
It does. I remember it quite often, actually, because this school year will be the 10th year anniversary of the 2008-2009 championship. Right. So, yes, I do think about it quite often.
What was that experience like for you? I mean, to have a team like that actually wins?
Well, I often tell folks, not only do you have to be good, but everything has to fall into place exactly.
Right.
We were blessed to not have any injuries those years, one of those years at least.
Right.
And, it's a great opportunity for our kids to experience some things that they've never had the chance to experience.
Right.
Especially at Marion High School.
So you moved on to other things now. What is your position now? You work for the school district. What do you do?
Right now, I'm the director of operations. As the director of operations, I oversee maintenance, grounds, transportation, safety and security, and athletics, and food services.
Okay. To what extent are you involved with athletics?
As the athletics, I'm still titled as the district director of athletics.
Okay.
So the 3 school athletic directors still report to me.
Right. So you were involved also with the security end of it as well.
Correct.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, one of the things that we do in this Marion Mullins game in particular is that we have a zero bag policy to include pocketbooks and those sorts of things. And that's been in existence probably for about 7 or 8 years. Bags are not allowed into that Marion Mullins game
Really?
for safety reasons. Hotly contested rivalries get some energies blowing that they don't get normally. So we just want to make sure that our kids remain safe, that our fans and everybody else remain safe at a game.
So is the security heightened at this point because it's Marion versus Mullins?
Well, I think with the bag policy, that's the heightened. You have security who's there, off-duty police officers, as long as the SROs from our schools are there. So it is probably a little more heightened than it is at a normal game.
I'm sure you remember several years ago, when Marion and Mullins basketball game had to be played in front of nobody.
I do actually remember that, and that is the cause. That was when that zero bag policy was implemented.
Okay. So are you going to have security people milling through the crowd to, kind of surveil what may, because it seemed to be a little pushing and shoving last week at the Marion game. I saw some people.
I heard that as well, and I was not there at that game.
Right.
But I did hear that there was some extra pushing and shoving that went on. But I think, in high school athletics, and any type of athletics, in the heat of the battle, things happen.
Right.
Especially in rival games.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that can happen sometimes will happen because these kids live so close.
Mm-hmm.
They're friends. But I think at the end of the day, our kids have probably gone past that a little more than the adults have. I think that adults put more of an emphasis on the rivalry than the kids do. You can see our kids after games, they're shaking hands. They're all cool at that particular point.
Mm-hmm.
But adults, and in particular adults who are not involved in the game, adults who come as fans, still have some things in their mind that bring up these things. I think, again, the kids are okay. The rivalry is a hotly contested rivalry, but I don't think our kids come with the intent to do something dirty or wrong to the other kids.
Give me a typical day, typical game day. What's happening, and what are you guys focusing on? I mean, is there some kind of process that you go to leading up to game time?
For security, I think our security are normally there right around 6 o'clock. They will survey areas. We have people that work all of our gates. Those gates are normally manned as well by some security personnel.
Mm-hmm.
As people come in, security personnel starts to roam around the field. Normally the SROs from the schools are down on the field with the kids, and that way if something were to happen, they would be able to get our kids to safety, the officials to safety, and then we can be able to clear that fracas up as quickly as possible.
Okay, so is the security at the beginning of the game any different than the end? Because that seems that might pose another kind of challenge for you.
And again, at the end of the game, you want to make sure that everybody is on a heightened alert.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is looking for anything that can happen. So security personnel, you got people that are going to be outside, and you got people that are going to be inside, making sure everybody is ushered out as safely as possible.
What are the vulnerabilities as it relates to security?
With outside games, it's always vulnerable because you don't have the checkpoints. Hopefully nobody will bring things into our games, but because you don't have a place to be able to do or walk through security games, it's difficult sometimes to be able to know that.
Are you guys using the wands and everything?
We have been using the ones, and as a matter of fact, we bought more.
They work?
Yeah, we bought more in the past 2 years. The school district has gotten some grant money to be able to heighten our security. We have wands, we bought AEDs that go along with our kids to games. And not only do we have them in the schools, but we have one that travels as well. I think our biggest fear is something that would happen similar to what happened in Hartsfield about 4 or 5 years ago, where the young man was on the field and went into cardiac arrest and subsequently died from cardiac arrest. So we want to make sure that we do everything possible to, if something happens, then we're able to address it as soon as possible. And we've gone to having trainers on our sidelines, which is a big deal. We've partnered with McLeod. We also partner with Carolina's Health here in Marion to be able to make sure that everything that our kids need, we have everything that we need as far as safety and security is concerned.
Who are the people on campus, not including yourself, that is primarily responsible for this whole security thing?
On the campus, primarily, it's a principal's deal.
That's
Everything,
during game night too?
yes, because they're game management.
Okay.
They are game management along with the SROs. So the police departments work closely with our SROs. SROs work closely with our principals to make sure that things are carried out. If we know that as an event could possibly happen, then of course we'll be more heightened. Games that bring large crowds, Mullins game will bring large crowds, the Dillon game will bring large crowds. So therefore, you want to make sure you have extra persons there at those games.
Why don't you tell me about some of the things that are going on right now, some things that you are working on as we move through the sports season? Because the season just started, what are some of the things that you have planned event-wise going forward?
Most of the things that happen event-wise happen because of the schools.
Okay.
They plan out what happens. Basically, they come to me we meet quarterly. So me and the 3 ADs meet quarterly to sit down and look at how we're doing things. We try to have processes in place so that our processes flows right. We want to make sure that our kids have the best opportunities that they could possibly have. All of us know of kids who've been athletically gifted, and right now, 5-6 years later, a lot of our kids who've been athletically gifted are still around me, and they're saying what they did, 5-6 years ago. We want our kids to get to a point where we're saying what they're doing now, and they've done all the right things in order to get to that next step.
What are some of the things that are being done in the school to help the kids get through these challenging times, early teens and all that, their emotions are all over the place?
And with young people, they ebb and flow. One day they are 20, and the next day they're 12. And we have to be able to bridge a gap between that young adulthood and adulthood. We have to provide programs. Our coaches do stuff. They put stuff on Max Prep. They are getting their kids to camp. Unlike 20 years ago, college coaches came to campuses. Now they get to see them by looking at them at camp or by looking at them on the AAU circuit. Young man who has ties to Marion, but is now in Columbia, started out last year as a one-star recruit. And then all of a sudden, he went to a few camps and he ended up being a 4-star recruit,
Right.
just by being able to be exposed. So the biggest difference between some of our kids and a lot of other kids, they've just not been exposed to some things. And I think that's our responsibility, to expose them to every opportunity that they have in order to get them to the next level.
What are some of the things that you do on a daily basis from an athletic standpoint? What are some of the things that you always happen to be thinking about?
I think about at home games. I think about, have anybody checked the lights?
Check the lights.
If anybody's cleaned the bathrooms.
What about the wasps up there in the? That's a little scary.
Yeah,
And
and
a guy got stung last year when I was there, and this year they were flying around a little bit too, and I was like, I'm not trying to get stung.
I wouldn't want anybody to get stung either. I think one of the things I rely on is the people who work in the school to go in and be able to notify me of that.
Mm-hmm.
If we know, we can address it. If we don't know, we can't address it because we don't know about it.
A lot of people around here they're still talking about the stadium and the facilities at the football field. They want a new stadium. How possible is that? Is that even something that we can even begin to think about?
I think it's possible. I think more talk has been happening recently by people who can make it happen.
Right.
As you know, there were many people before who were probably not keen on that idea. Right now, I think that our superintendent has made some strides to be able to address some things. That is one of those things that we've talked about. But I think it will happen. I'm not sure how long it'll happen, but I know that that's one of the things that's in process. Again, we're constantly as a district looking forward to improvement. And you can't improve by planning today for tomorrow. We got to plan today for 3-4 years now.
Okay, I got one more thing on the wish list.
The Florida Marion High School gym. Actually, we were trying to change that gym floor this year. Actually, not only Marion High, but Mullins High and Palmetto Middle School as well. And for all of those floors, the change would be because of safety.
Right.
As you know, the gym at Mullins High sweats, and if you get 1,500 people in there,
Right.
it's gonna sweat. The floor at Marion High is
It'll kill you if you
cement.
fall on it.
It is cement.
Right.
I actually found out this past summer it is called a grand wood, kind of with the effect of having the parquet at the Boston Garden,
Right.
but it's cement.
Right.
It is 100%.
It's really,
It's not healthy for kids. It's not healthy for officials. And everybody who plays on that floor,
Kids
they're
are-
talking about it.
yeah, they do.
So that is in the plan as well. Hopefully they have it this coming summer.
That'd be great. Anything else you want to share with us?
Especially at the start of the year, academic and athletic year, we're excited about what could happen in Marion County sports. We've seen improvement from all of our teams in the past few years. You had both Marion High School boys and girls to play in the Lower State Finals last year. You had Mullins High School girls to play in the state finals back-to-back years.
Something that your team did too.
Correct.
Right.
You've had Creekbridge girls and boys to make the playoffs in basketball for the first time at the same time
Right.
in a while. So I think the opportunity is there. I think we have some people in places who can get our kids to the next level. I ask that kids also make that commitment to want to get better. Oftentimes talent won't get you every place if you don't work hard at it. We want our kids to put as much work in the classroom as they put on the court, on the field. And if they put that effort in, it'll pay off for them in the long run.
Okay, Coach Durkee, thank you very much for coming out.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. That's athletic director and other things at Marion School District 1. Next up is, let's see. We're just sitting around Emerson's place right now as we're trying to get the guys. You guys want to come on? We're gonna have the two coaches for Marion and Mullins, the varsity football coaches. They're gonna tell us a little bit about the big rivalry that's coming up tomorrow in the rivalry game. The game is being played a little bit earlier this year since they are no longer conference foes. So and we have Coach John Williams of Mullins and Coach McCollum with Marion. I need you guys to get a little bit closer. Let's see if we can get this kind of balance. When I address you, I'm gonna need you to tilt it a little bit so we can get you on the live stream. Okay, first question as prepared by the event folks. Coach McCollum, how long have you been coaching total, and how long have you been with your current team?
I've been coaching approximately 21 years, entering year number 3 here at Marion High School.
Okay. Coach Williams?
I've been coaching 30 years. This is my 7th year as the head coach at Moses.
Now, John, you've been a middle school coach. You've been a middle school football coach.
Yeah, middle school head football coach
And head basketball coach.
and head basketball coach. Also, I've been at the high school in Creek Bridge. I was the first football coach for Creek Bridge.
That's right, you were.
So I was down there a couple of years, and then I came back to Mullins, and I'm really happy to be back.
Well, good. Coach McCollum, what are some of the points of emphasis for you coming into the season?
We just wanted to be more competitive across the board. We were a real young team last year. In some cases, you would consider us almost like a a JV squad because we were so young, but we wanted to be more competitive. We wanted to get a little faster, a little stronger, and just be able to compete all around.
Coach Williams, same question to you.
Well, we came in wanting to just get better, just be more disciplined and work hard in the weight room and get some things accomplished that we didn't get accomplished last year. To become more focused on a goal that we have this year.
At this point, do you feel you're moving in that direction, the direction that you want to go?
Right now, I feel like that we are. We're working hard. The kids got one goal in mind, and that's great. That's fantastic.
Why don't each of you give me a brief description of your defense and offensive philosophies? Coach McConnell first.
I'm a spread guy. I like to stretch the field vertically and horizontally. I want to make sure that the defense has to defend every piece of the field. And defensively, I'm an attack style guy.
Right.
Yeah, I don't believe in just sitting back. I believe in getting after people.
Coach Williams.
I'm about to say. But defensively, we want to first stop the run. We want to attack. We want to stop the run. We want to force the other team to become a passing team. And then we'll run man in the different zones against the passing attack. For offense, now we would like to, a good team needs to be able to run the ball when need to be. But a championship team needs to be able to throw it too. So we want to be able to throw it. Depends on the situation. We want to be able to pass. Running depends on the situation. And utilize some of our guys out in the open field. So we're going to have a multiple attack.
Coach Williams, what would you consider a successful season for Mullins this year in football?
Well, we have set a goal this year. We were fortunate enough to make the playoffs last year. And we want to make some noise in the playoffs this year.
How much noise you want to make?
We want to go deep in the playoffs. We want to make some noise.
How deep, John? State championship? Second round, third round?
Well, I mean, I really feel like that if things could go our way and we work hard enough, the sky's the limit. And I'm not scared to say maybe state championship because if I don't believe it, my kids won't.
That's a fact. Coach McConnell.
We're looking to be real competitive in our region this year. We're young, like I said before. We're in with the likes of Dylan and Sherrod and those guys, and we're looking to make a little noise. We want to make the playoffs this year and give ourselves an opportunity to go to state. So if we can be competitive in the region, well, first win a few games, be competitive in the region, make playoffs, and try to make an attempt to go on for state.
Tell me about how you felt when you learned that they were going to go to 3A instead of 2A.
Oh, our guys were excited. I was excited.
You were excited too?
Yeah, I was. One of the things, you never want to back down from a challenge. You don't want to be one of those guys like, I want to sit here. You want to give yourself a chance to expand and grow. And I think our kids, they were really excited about it because you really get a chance and an opportunity to show what you're really made of.
What do you think the biggest difference is between playing 2A football and 3A football?
On any given Friday night, there's not a difference. You got to run, block, and tackle and play great special teams in order to win. And that kind of thing, you got to do it every week, week in and week out. The level of competition may differ a little bit, but you got to be able to do that because on any given Friday night, you can win or lose.
John, would you consider Mullins as a small 2A team or a big 2A team in terms of how they measure that?
Well, and actually, when you look at enrollment, we're a small 2A team.
Mm-hmm.
But we got some kids that are talented to be pretty good 2A teams.
Mm-hmm.
So, and especially this year for football, we have a large number out this year, the most we had in a long, long time. So I believe it's picking up, even though we're small, we have a small enrollment.
What would you consider a successful season?
Yeah, you asked me that already.
Did I answer that too?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Coach McCollum, you're coming off a tough season where you didn't get many wins. What does it take to refocus to get the kids ready for this year?
Well, one of the things we talked about in the offseason was being very competitive, competing at every level. And one of the things that we tried to do in the offseason is try to make everything a competition. For instance, be the first guy to the meeting room, be the first guy to the weight room, Be the first guy to try to finish your workout. Just we make everything a competition. See if you can beat the coach to the weightlifting session. See if you can outlift one of the coaches in the weightlifting session. So we felt like those things were important for us to get better in the offseason, just creating this culture of competition.
How important is beating Mullins this week?
Well, first of all, it's not just beating Mullins. It's important every week when you want to try to win some games and turn the culture around. Mullins, this Tobacco Bowl is big. Coach Williams does a great job. He has some great athletes. They have a great culture over there as far as athletics are going. But, that's the rivalry. You have to be able to compete. You got to be able to go out there and show yourself worthy of being a great opponent. And for the past 2 years, he's got me. He got me. But hopefully this year is my year.
Coach Williams, when you get around your Mullins fans, how important is it to them that you come back after a Marion game with a win? How important is it?
Oh, it's very important. All week, that's all I hear is about beating Marion and people saying, they're going to be there and make sure that we win and all that. So it's a lot of pressure that they put on you in Mullins. Because like I said, like Coach McComb said, it's a big rivalry. And so I always tell them, though, it's not easy because when it's a rivalry like that, Marion's going to give everything they got. Coach is going to have it prepared. So it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a real tough game. So we're going to fight it and see who comes out in victory.
What do you think is going to be the key to beating Marion this year?
You want me to tell this before the game gets started? All right,
give us an idea of what's going to be, some things.
Watching them on film, the thing that stood out most to me was their speed. Oh, man. And so the main thing we want to do on defense is kind of keep them, in the pocket. We don't want to let them get out of the pocket because with the speed that they have, they'll hurt you real bad outside the pocket. On offense, we want to be able to control the ball. We want to be able to run the ball against them. And if we can do that, I think we'll be pretty solid.
Same question, Coach McCollum.
I don't know what film Coach Williams was watching. We slow down. But one of the things that I noticed about it, Coach Williams and his group, they're well coached, they're well disciplined. They're big and they're strong. They're extremely strong. So one of the things we're going to have to do, we're going to have to play really, really, really good offense. Can't turn the ball over. Got to play great special teams, and we got to hope that on defense we can slow down one of their big guys, Xavier Leggett, who I think is one of the best players in the state right now.
What kind of a week has it been practice-wise for you and Marion?
It's been a great week. Even though we lost in overtime to a good ladder team, 26-23 in overtime, our guys are really focused. They took it as something to build on. And, last year, we lost that game. We just kind of unfolded at the end. But this year we came back from behind late third quarter, made a little run, came up a little short at the end. But our guys have been really excited. They've been really focused. And, of course, with this being a rivalry week, like Coach Williams said earlier, they're hearing it left and right, and we're hearing it left and right as coaches. So, it's been a week of focus.
Same question, Coach Williams.
Well, we kind of take it as, the kids, we don't have to really say anything to them about being ready for me. They are focused from day one. They beat us on the field, so they are really ready to play it, because I've seen times when you play Marion, and if you can beat Marion, that makes your season.
Right.
So that it's just that big for us in Mullins.
Is that still the way it is, though, John? I mean, are people just satisfied now with beating Marion or Marion beat Mullins? Do they want a little bit more?
I can testify to the fact that if you can beat your rival, it sure helps keep your job.
Yeah.
That's a good start. So the emphasis is there now. The emphasis is there.
So this is your third time. This is your third game against Marion?
Yes, sir.
And you're looking to him.
Yeah, the first year he got by me real good. He know he got by me, but last year, like I said, we were young and inexperienced, and he had a good group. Had Ryan Gordon's quarterback who's at South Carolina State, awesome guy. So and he had a couple key weapons, but we're looking to try to turn the tide this year.
Right. Looking at some other things, tell me about some of the players who have distinguished themselves this year, Coach McCollum, like returning starters or whatever.
I'm going to start out with a few people, just a handful. Devontae Allen, better known as Dooley, our starting QB. He has taken it upon himself to be the leader, the emotional leader of the team. He's done a whole lot to get us where we need to be. We have a gentleman by the name of Ja'Cory Pouncey. He's a senior as well. He's an offensive lineman, defensive lineman. Have a young man by the name of Trey Bowie who does a whole lot as far as getting us where we need to be. Saquon McCullough, he does a great job. Brandon Bass is our center. He's a stalwart for us on offensive line. There are so many guys that I can name. Deleon Moody, he's also an emotional leader. But these guys, they're multi-sport athletes. We've asked them to prepare themselves in the off season. We've asked them to do what it takes to get ready to play, and they've done a good job with that.
Same question goes with.
Well, we have Xavier Leggett, who's being highly recruited. As a matter of fact, Coach has already offered him a scholarship. He hasn't committed yet, though. We have Cameron Bethea and Cameron Weeks, two good players that a lot of colleges are looking at. And Sherrod Burrows, North Carolina A&T, is really looking at him. The emotional leader of our team, though, would be, I would have to say, Cameron Weeks. As he goes, we goes on defense. So when he's up, when he's playing well, then we play well.
But didn't Cameron start out as a quarterback? I remember in middle school he was a quarterback.
Let me tell you a little story. His daddy helped me coach middle school. And he was a little boy, and he used to always tell me, Coach, I'm going to play for you one day, and I'm going to play well, and I'm going to start, and I'm going to go to school. And he told me that from day one. And I tell you what, he's one of the hardest working players, and he's tough, I'm telling you.
And he's a great kid, too.
Yes, he is.
The emotional leader of your team's got to be, what you said, Dooley? Is Dooley that guy?
Devontae Allen and definitely Deleon Moody. Those two guys, they get it done all the time. And they really, really do a good job of getting the guys up.
What about the other players coming up now that you expect is going to impact your team going forward?
Oh, well, an immediate impact has been Quali Crawford for us. Last week he had 25 rushes, 140 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And he did a great job last week, considering that was his first varsity start. He took a year off from football, but he was dynamic last week, and he does a great job for us.
What about the kid that filled in at quarterback for you?
Tashawn Davis, a.k.a. we call him Shan. That's his nickname. He did a great job. He was a starter last year, but Allen kind of beat him out for the position. But he competes daily. He does everything we ask him to do. He's even trying to play a little defense part time. So when he came in and kind of helped spark the rally, that's what was expected, and he did everything we asked of him.
Right. Okay, we're going to take a look at and talk about the Tobacco Bowl a little bit. First of all, should they call it Tobacco Bowl? Next question. How do you guys feel about the Tobacco Bowl as it is currently constructed?
Well, I'll answer that one.
Are there events surrounding the Tobacco Bowl leading up to Tobacco Bowl week?
No, there's not. Well, not any events. We do have an interview, at press conference at the Anderson Brothers Bank. But I must say that Anderson Brothers Bank really has been great to me, and I'm sure also to Coach McCullough too, for just wanting to be a part of the Tobacco Bowl. It gives us something to play for. It is a big thing to have that Tobacco Bowl trophy at your school.
It seems like the Tobacco Bowl would be accompanied by a parade or something. Hey, Tobacco Bowl.
Well, I think each school does probably their own preparation for like tomorrow. We're doing a pep rally. So
you guys doing a pep rally too?
Yes, we are. Most definitely.
Yeah, you got to be with
there.
Yeah.
What does pep rallies do in your estimation to help your team get ready for you?
It hypes them up. I think it gets school spirit going. I think it gets the community riled up. And you can see it filter through the atmosphere on Friday nights, and this is a big rivalry. This is one that's just not, for Coach Williams and myself. It didn't start yesterday. It's been there for a minute.
Okay, so your pet, give me an idea what your pet rallies are like. I went when I was in high school and it was crazy. And
It hadn't changed much.
you guys, they have their shirts. Do they wear their shirts around the school all day? You know, it's game day. They got their jerseys on and all that.
Yes, sir.
And at the pet rally, do you guys announce certain players, individuals, or whatever? Or in football, it's a little difficult.
Yeah, well, you can, but with my guys, I just announced seniors, juniors, sophomores, freshmen.
And they come out on the floor and
yeah.
people are going crazy.
Yeah, and then they do their little chant, and then I whisk them away.
Same thing done.
And basically, we do the same. We have the band plays.
Oh yeah.
You have a band too?
Band, cheerleaders,
That's the pet band. Little pet band.
No, the band.
Oh, yeah, the whole band.
The whole band. Yeah, the whole band. We'll be in there, and they'll be rocking. Probably everybody will probably get started tomorrow about 2.
So, what time is the pet rally tomorrow?
I'm thinking it's gonna be about 2:15.
It's probably about 2:30.
Wow, that sounds exciting. But anyway, how does the community get involved with this rivalry? Besides wanting to beat each other up.
Beat each
What
other
else say? Because they want to beat each other up, but short of that.
Well, I know for Mullins, we have fans that really probably don't come to a game unless it's the Marion Mullins game. Really. So, if they don't come to any other game, they'll be in that one tomorrow night.
Now, do you sell advance tickets to the game? Or the advance ticket sales?
We haven't sold an advance tickets this year.
So it's strictly a walk-up kind of thing, and
It's really walk up.
if you get there late, you're probably going to be standing in a long line.
Long line.
Okay. What time, since you guys are the visitors, what time would you be leaving Marion to go there tomorrow and why?
We're going to probably try to leave around 6:15ish, so we can get there, get settled, take care of our little housekeeping rules. But we don't want to be out there too long in the heat waiting. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a competitive game. It's going to be a heated game. But what you don't want to happen is you guys get dehydrated just by waiting, or just sit there and be tired of waiting. So we're probably going to leave about 6:15, get there 6:30, get us a nice little stretch. We'll warm up some at the school prior to, but we'll be game ready when we get there.
And this question for both of you guys. Give me a typical game day. What you do on game day, typically? Let's just say a home game. What do you do typically?
No, first, listen on Coach McCullough.
Yes, sir.
We have an air conditioned place. Just come out to the field. I'm sure we can make sure that you'll be comfortable and ready by 7:30.
Thanks, sir. I appreciate your
Please
comments.
come early. The first thing is, y'all, that we do. We always have a team meal together because I don't let anybody leave. We all like a family. So we stay together from the time the bell rings at the end of school to the game starts. We all together. We have meetings. We discuss the last little things that we're going to do and what we need to do about the game in the meetings. We get dressed. We sit around and look at each other and tell each other that what we need to do, coaches included. Then we go out about 6 o'clock for special teams. Then we come back in about 10 to 7. And then we come back out about 5 minutes before the game starts.
Do you still have locals who supply the meals or sponsor the team dinner and all that? How does that work?
Well, to kind of piggyback on what Coach Williams said, our schedule was somewhat similar. From the time our guys actually have to sign for their jerseys tomorrow morning by 7:55. If they don't sign for them by 7:55, they won't get their jersey tomorrow. But normally they will beat me to the spot. So they'll be there, and then they'll go through the whole day. But like Coach said, you'll meet and right after school team meal, and then we'll have our series of meetings and adjustments, and then we'll go down to get dressed and do our stretching legs and agilities to get started. But yeah, with team meals, we have a number of people that can contact our guy Tim Perkins, Coach Tim Perkins, to donate meals. He does a great job of organizing that for our team. But yeah, we have local individuals, businesses and individuals, groups, churches that I think helps with everybody in the area.
John, you guys used to have a weekly eat at Mullins High School football field on Wednesdays. You guys still have that?
Every now and then, some of our guys that was doing that is got sick,
Right.
and so they're not having it right now. But I'm sure when they get healthy, especially like Dallas Platt has been sick, and so as soon as
Dallas has been sick.
yes, he has.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay.
And as soon as he gets healthy and everything, I believe they'll start back.
Well, I was pretty much coming over there to eat every week, but since you guys kind of slowed
Slow
down,
down right now.
and maybe it's helped me out a little bit too. But here we are on the eve of this thing. After that, you go into your regular schedule. But how long will it take for the loser of this game to recover going
year.
forward?
A year. I'll tell you that. A year, a complete year.
A year?
Yes, sir.
My biggest worry is against we play Steve Murray the following week. My biggest word would be trying to get him up for that game. Oh man, do you know?
Actually,
If we was to lose tomorrow night, man, you won't hear a pin drop. Crying. I mean, crying.
wow.
I'm trying to tell you, man, this is that serious.
Wow. Okay.
It came down to the last play, my first year. Came down to the very last play. And the emotion that was displayed by both teams, it reminds you of something that you'd see in a college bowl game.
Yes, sir.
How important is it to be the home team? Do you prefer being the home team, or sometimes some teams play better on the road? I mean, would you rather be in Marion tomorrow night than Mullins?
From a fan perspective, you'd like to be home, because you'd like to
I'm
have.
talking from a coach's perspective.
From a coach's perspective, all you can ask for right now is just that your team is focused and ready to play.
Would you rather be in the friendly confines of Mullins Stadium?
As Coach said, I would like for them to be focused and play, but then the home field advantage does count somewhat. But even in Marion, we still would have a lot of fans.
Oh, let me ask you guys a question. Who hires, the refs are hired by the hosting school? Who's paying the refs?
The whole school. Who's will pay the rest.
Okay. So you won't have anything to do with that. You'll be at the behest of whoever they hire.
You can't make those kind of comments live in this area.
Also, I want to ask Coach, could you come by tonight and help me do the field?
Oh man! Oh, I just pulled a muffin.
Look like I'm gonna be out there a long time.
We can do Foxville,
I will return the favor to you.
So tonight you guys are all buddies and everything. You all like each other and everything. But when you hit the field tomorrow, is the love still there?
John and I, Coach Williams and I, have a mutual respect for each other. We know some of the same people. We're in some of the same coaching circles prior to me getting here.
Right.
And like he said, we agree to disagree on it, except on just one night. And he told me today, he reminded me at 12:01, we are mortal enemies until the next night.
So what can the fans expect tomorrow? Could they expect it's going to be a tight? You think it's going to be a tight game? What kind of game do you want? Do you want a low-scoring game, high-scoring game?
I want to win.
Vice versa.
I don't care if it's 3-2.
Yeah, I want to win.
I want to win. That's all.
That's
Bottom
it.
line.
Well, only one team is going to win tomorrow.
That's it.
That's it.
You guys are going to be all right with the results.
Well, you lose, you suck it up. Wait till next year.
That's it.
What about the rest of the season and the rest of the schedule? Who are some of the teams that are coming up for you that you're going to have to deal with?
Oh man, we got a loaded schedule. Our conference is real tough. Carver's Bay, I think I saw them the first week. They beat somebody 81 to 14. I said, Lord have mercy. But Carver's Bay supposed to be pretty good. Ladder, we got Ladder, and I saw how tough Marion Ladder game was. So I know that's going to be a tough game. King Street is going to be better. We got Hannah Papico in the conference.
They're much better.
They're much better. And Johnsonville's got Coach Creel coming back. That used to be anyway. They're going to be better. Andrews is going to be good. So it's just a loaded conference.
Okay. What about some of the people you have to deal with, some of the teams?
Everybody. Last year when while we were playing. Like I said before, we were young. We were basically a JV team. And this year, with us moving up to 3A and us looking forward to the challenges, we're just really trying to be competitive and hold up our end of the bargain with everybody that we play.
So what can the fans expect? Just a good game.
Good game.
Hard fought. Hard hitting.
Oh man, it's emotional, hard hitting. But the thing that's going to be key to is that for both teams, you will know that everything is left on that field. That you got everything out of every coach and every player that plays tomorrow night. That's one thing for sure.
Okay. Any final words, Coach?
Well, I wish my coach luck tomorrow night. Well, mine. Well, I should stop lying. I say I hope he has a good game tomorrow night. But I'm not gonna say any kind of luck, but it's all in fun. I'm just
We all of us most of the time when in the off season we might even hang out a little bit, grab a bite to eat during the season. During the off season. Like we all went down to football camp together in South Carolina, hung out a little bit, that kind of thing. But like Coach said, the night at 12:01, I'll shake his hand in the middle of the field tomorrow and I'll keep walking.
That's it. The game face is on.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll see you guys at the game tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for the interview.
Appreciate everything.
BL Events sponsor along with Rasta. Thanks, guys.
Cut this thing off.
Court, you ready? You up?
I'm gonna get out of this. All right, get out. All right, you got it. John Williams. Thank you.
How you doing?
All right, that's
Pretty good.
Chris.
It should be.
Okay, the last individual we're going to talk to tonight is Coach Corporal, and he is a former Division I coach, current director of a national bowl game. Is that a high school national bowl game? Okay. Tell me a little bit about yourself. We're going to need this. Excuse me, sir. Tell me a little bit about yourself and what you've done.
Okay. I currently serve as the National Director for Offense, Defense, Sports. It's a national company. It's the oldest contact football camp company in the United States. We actually celebrated 50 years this year.
Right.
This is our 13th annual bowl game. Basically, what we do is we travel the United States from East Coast to West Coast, Canada, as well as Mexico. And we evaluate talent. We provide camps from youth from ages to 6 all the way up to the top high school players in the country.
Right.
So we conduct a ranking clinic. From the ranking clinic, players will be selected and receive a nomination. From the nomination, they go to what's called summer camp. Very old school camp. It's simulated and modeled after college experience, meaning it's the old school 3 practices a day, full contact, controlled scrimmage, controlled environment. We utilize collegiate coaches, former NFL coaches to conduct our clinics and camps. I write the curriculum for the entire national company. My experience is 13 years collegiate coaching. I've coached Division I, I've coached Division II, HBCU, and I've coached NAIA as well as high school. Worked from 2005 to 2010, guest coach for the New Orleans Saints, doing OTAs and mini camps.
Tell me about your experience. I see here that where is the 88 bowl game? Where's it played?
This year is taking place in Daytona Beach, NASCAR country.
Yeah.
Daytona Stadium. Last year it was in New Orleans. Every year we try to utilize an NFL or a major collegiate stadium. We try to follow a bowl that brings the crowd, the players. We make sure that the game is always held when it's winter break, so no student athletes miss school. So it's a 4-day event. The first 2 days they practice 2 times a day, similar to a mini camp, and then they play 2 games. The 88 game That's the top high school players in the country.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna ask you that.
yes, coming from California, New York, we have a selection process. We have a national board committee. I conduct the selection and the evaluations to decide which players go. How that selection takes place is that they have to have several Power Five offers. That's one of the first. Academics is a major component. You don't want to pull a kid to a bowl game that's not going to be college eligible. That defeats the purpose. This is a celebration of the platform that this young man established in high school.
Right.
And we're closing out his high school career, preparing him, eliminating or minimizing the learning curve to college football. So will be his last show in front of a national platform. The other thing I look for that kid that's gonna be 3 and done. And I know a lot of guys might think that's hard to do. Look at it from this perspective. A lot of kids receive a scholarship and might not believe that they can play that first year or look to make that impact. Well, I can assure you the winning programs across this country, they definitely look for a kid that can come in and play right now.
Right.
You wouldn't purchase a vehicle. You wouldn't pay $85,000 for a vehicle and come back a year later to drive it. So
Yeah.
that's how we look at a scholarship. When I pay for your education, I expect instant results right now, not to have to wait a year for you to progress. What I saw in high school, the coaching staffs, the program that we have available to you should be able to get you where we need you to be productive and contribute to that program. So I look for those guys.
As a coach, what are some of the tips for student athletes that have an aspiration of being collegiate athletes?
I would say preparation. You can't wait until you're a senior in high school to decide that's what you wanted to do. It starts at home. It starts with academics. It starts with discipline. It starts with making it up in your mind. Commitment, the bottom line. A commitment to academics, a commitment to athletics. I give guys an example. Everybody's going to go to school. Everybody's going to go to practice. What are you going to do that's going to make a difference? Those are norms. So when you talk about being a collegiate athlete, there has to be something special about you. So it's not just about the fact that you go to school. What do you do while you're there? How do you maximize your time? Are you excelling in your academics? I firmly believe a great student in the classroom makes a great student on the field. I assure you, a collegiate playbook is nowhere near short of a math book, especially algebra or calculus. If those young men can learn that book, they can learn anything a teacher puts in front of them in that classroom. So at the end of the day, it's about what's your commitment level. So my commitment level is waking up 5 o'clock in the morning to get myself prepared. My commitment level is doing the things coach asked me to do on the football field. My commitment level is once practice is over, what do I do extra to better myself? That's when you see the difference between what takes place between average, best, mediocre, or excellence. I always tell guys, best is the worst of the best and the best of the worst. Period. That's average.
Coach, I was wondering, high school football, is the high school football playbook getting bigger?
It is, but it's also getting, I think coaches are having more resources available to allow their players to process the information faster.
Mm-hmm.
They're starting to understand that the educational components, the different levels of thinking contributes to players finding the different processes, some being kinesthetic, visual learners, hands-on. So coaches are starting to use those tools to help these guys learn playbooks. Some coaches even use video games because they know that's something that their players like. So to get these guys to buy into the program.
But when you think about football seems to be, on the surface, a pretty simple game. But you have all these variations of things. So is football about deception and deceiving your opponent? And I mean, is that a big part of it, or what?
I would actually say there's different philosophies for that, but I believe that you do what's your staple, meaning whatever your staple is, whatever your base is, what coaches call it. If we're a run team, we're going to run the football. no matter who we're playing against.
Is that a smaller playbook for running than, say, for throwing the ball around?
I would not say so. You have what we call schemas. In running the football, you're doing one of three things. You're either doing power, you're doing G scheme, or you're doing zone block.
Right.
So out of those, that's your run game. Passing, you have different personnel, you have different grouping settings, and it also goes back to what do you have available for talent. You're not going to take a kid that doesn't throw the football at all and put him in a passing offense. He won't be successful.
Right.
Or offensive line, you're not going to take an offensive line that's not very good at run block and try to run a power or G scheme run game.
Now, Coach, over the last 20, 30 years, I've watched high school football change. It went from primarily a running thing, especially in this area, to now primarily guys putting the ball in the air a lot more. What do you think is responsible for that change?
I think one thing is these players, you have 7-on-7. That's an off-season extracurricular that players are participating in, a lot of participation. So your skill guys are more prevalent now. The playbook is also opened up a little more focus on, you can kind of dictate to a defense, being a passing team, what's going to be in what's called the box. Meaning if I go 4 wide, I know you can't put so many guys in the box without having to cover my 4 receivers.
Right.
So it makes an advantage. It takes a lot of pressure off the quarterback. At the same time, he still has to understand he has to get rid of the football.
Right. Where can parents go for information on offense and defense on this Elite 88 bowl game?
Okay. You can go to o-d.com. That'll provide you all the information you need. It's a year-round process. It's not just, like I'll say, a winning season is made during the off-season for football. So we have particular times a year that athletes do certain things to get themselves better, to get themselves prepared for the upcoming season. So you have winter conditioning, you have summer workouts, you have spring, and then preseason, then you're ready for football.
Okay. Are you a local guy or you're from here?
I'm 2 years ago, I was coaching at Tulane University
Okay.
in New Orleans. So now I am here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Okay. Are you going to attend the game Friday night against Marion?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, what do you expect the game will be like?
I always like to find a rival. And from what I'm hearing, this is a pretty good rival game.
Right.
Who knows? I might find one of my 88s there.
So basically, you're working.
Always.
Yeah. You're looking at recruit players.
Have whistle, will travel.
Right. Right. Well, Coach, I want to thank you for coming down today. Anything else you want to share with us going forward?
No, just like I said, I think it's a great opportunity for these young men. I look forward to the battle tomorrow.
Right.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. Okay. Well, folks, that's Mr. Chris Corporal. He's a former Division I coach and current director of the National Bowl Games. And that bowl game is called what is the Elite 8. It's the Elite 8 bowl game. Thank you for joining us tonight. We have a band guy. Okay, cool. Mr. Troy Murray, is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, have a seat, sir. Would you come over on the side?
Oh, we put the name right here. We put the name right here.
Don't worry about it. Come over here. Cool.
All right. Let me put the hat right here.
Yeah, you can. So you are Mr. Troy Murray. Tell me a little bit about you and how long have you been directing the Mullins Band?
This is my 4th year directing the band. I'm originally from Greensboro, North Carolina. I moved down here once I received the job offer, and I went to North Carolina A&T State University, where I marched there for 4 years. I played three of my years. I played trumpet, and my last year I played flugelhorn. I graduated in 2015, and ever since then, I've been here the band director at Mullins High School.
When you came there, what kind of shape was the band in when you came in the door?
It wasn't in the most tip-top shape, but I always said I wanted to improve it. It was a little small. It was probably about 16 horns.
Okay.
And I said I'm going to build this program. And ever since then, it's been coming up and coming up and coming up.
Have the numbers increased yearly?
They have now 1 year did fall off because I had a lot of seniors. That was my first year. I had a lot of seniors, and the next year it fell off. But ever since then, it's been growing and growing and growing. As of right now, I have 21 people in my beginner band class, so it's going to keep growing.
What is your style? What kind of marching band style do you teach?
Well, we are a high stepping marching band. We're high step show stopping marching band.
HBC style.
HBCU style, yeah. So when you see us, we're gonna give you a show. But my sound, because there's different sounds, I'm more of an aggressive sound. I come out to punch you in the face, but at the same time, it's gonna be real clear. You're gonna understand the music. It's gonna sound good, but it's gonna have a lot of volume to it as well.
Who are some of your favorite musicians that you had in your band after? I mean, you throwing a little James Brown out there, maybe a little Al Jarreau. I don't know. Who are some of the people that you?
As far as musicians wise, I really like Miles and Wynton Marcellus. Yes.
Okay.
I like the color. I love coloring marching band. I like to add a lot of different count melodies.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as pattern my band off of actual marching band, I like to intertwine, of course, antiques, since that's where I went. But I also like Southern's aggressive sound, so I like to intertwine both of those and add my own touch to it.
Does your band have a name? You know, like they have crazy names for bands. Do you have one for yours?
Actually, I'm in the process of rebranding the band, which we're gonna reveal to everyone tomorrow. Which I'm wearing the new shirt right now. Just got this logo, so we'll be called the Shockwave of the South because we're a small band, but when you hear us, we hear that big power. So everyone's usually shocked. So we give you that shock wave. And since we're from the South, shock wave of the South.
Sounds good. So what are some of the songs you're gonna be playing tomorrow night?
Can't give away all the good songs, but I can definitely tell you that we're gonna do on the halftime. We're gonna do a 90s show. So I'm gonna take it back. We're gonna do a 90s show. It's definitely something you don't want to miss. In the stands, we usually play our usual tunes. We play Ball and Parlay, which is a song that Tuskegee University plays. Play Vice Versa. We're gonna play Head Busters. Something to get the keeping the team riled up, but also giving the fans, the crowd, something to listen to because we are the DJ of the game.
Right. Who are the drum majors or major?
I have one drum major. His name is Taylor Ford. He's my senior. He's been doing a great job. He started last year. He stepped up to the plate, and this year he's really taking the leadership position to a whole nother level, and I really do appreciate it.
What does it take to be a drum major?
Drum major, well, one, you gotta have some rhythm, because you are gonna be
You gotta dance a little bit.
Oh yeah, you gotta have a little something.
Got your kind of extrovert kind of person.
A little bit.
Sure.
Well, yeah, you do.
Right.
And you also have to have that leadership mentality where someone, when you get up in front of them, they respect you. Because if you haven't been putting the work on your horn, nobody's gonna respect you. So you have to have that respect factor there. So you have to be a musician first before you're just a leader.
Really?
Yes.
That's what I'm gonna ask you next. Do they play instruments? Or do the drum majors play instruments?
Yes. Before he became a drum major, he played clarinet. He's a great reader. He's a great player. And the students actually asked them who you all like to be a drum major. They chose him. He was already in my brain.
Right.
But they confirmed it for me, and I told him he was going to take it. He took it, and he's been taking it off there.
Well, I learned something new because I didn't know that the drum major comes from the ranks of the band.
Oh, yes.
But, okay. As band director, do you or the band members treat rivalry games differently?
No. The rivalry, we going for blood. We might not be physical like the football team, but our music, that's our battle. So my thing is arrangements. We might play the same exact song, but my arrangement compared to your arrangement is going to be completely different.
Right. So you guys come out there with fire and brimstone.
Yes.
You want to get things going.
Oh yes, we come out attacking.
What would you consider? How would you consider this season to be successful? Are you in competitions in Illinois?
Yes, we have two competitions coming up October the 13th. That'll be at Fayetteville, North Carolina, at E. Smith's Gotham City Battle of the Bands, and then we're gonna do Keenan High School in Columbia, October 27th. Those will be our two competitions. Right now, we're getting ready for that. You'll see a little bit of it Friday. That's just a little taste of it, but we still got to add some more to it. But as far as a successful season, seeing my kids improve.
Right.
Because like I said, every year we've improved. But also, I would love to bring on a first place trophy this year. We were 6 points off last year, and I'm really looking forward to do it. But overall, seeing them improve and have fun. Because at the end of the day, I want you to win, but I want you to have fun while I do it.
Well, all three of my kids played in the band here in Marion, so. But when I look at the band from a distance, I see a big party going on. Is that about right? I mean, tell me about your travels, and is it a party atmosphere?
It definitely has to be that party because, like I said before, we're the DJ of the football game.
Right.
Imagine going to a party and no music.
Right. You're right.
So you have to really bring that DJ factor, the music factor to it. So they have to be live. The more excited they are, the more hyped they are, the more the crowd will get into it. So that's why I always tell my kids, you the DJ, have fun with it.
So tomorrow, you're gonna have the pep rally, and you're gonna be there.
Yeah.
What do you have planned for that tomorrow?
Well, as far as songs,
yeah, as far as the mood that you're gonna try to create.
we're gonna set the tone where you need to come out, you need to be hyped, you need to be alive. Like I said, we play our one of the songs that a lot of people like is Head Busters because it's got the tone in the name. So we're gonna play that. We'll play Ball and Parlay. They like that song. Might bring out a new song. It's corner how it goes, but we might bring out a new one.
So, what can the Mullins fans expect from the band going forward? I mean, are you going to be around? You want to stick around for a little bit longer, maybe, to kind of really develop this thing, or you're just on the move right now?
I would like to stick around, honestly. I like building this program. I like seeing that it's growing and getting better and better. The fans, they can look for excitement and they can look for improvement as well. We got a lot of feedback last week, and I want to keep that feedback coming by getting better and better and bringing something that they haven't seen, that they didn't see last week, this week. I love bringing out new surprises.
Is community supporting you? And if not, what can they do to support you?
We got some community support, but like anything, we can always use extra support. By donating to the band, any instruments that someone has that they don't use anymore, we'll definitely take them, as well as money. We can always use money. If you see us, since I've been here, we've been watching the events. We'd love to have some real marching band uniforms for my students to be in. We go to different competitions and my students see them and they always saying, we want some real uniforms. I'm saying, well, we trying to raise some money for it. But if the community can get back with that, that'd be great. They can just send that to come to the school and they can come see me and we can get that done.
Well, I appreciate you, man. I mean, you almost had me crying just now when you were talking about the uniforms. I was like, oh, man, it'd be great if the community could really get you guys decked out. Yeah, if you're going to do this, you might as well do it.
Oh, yes.
So, congratulations and good luck.
All right, thank you, sir.
Okay. Well, folks, that's it. Sorry. Yeah. This is sponsored by BL Events and Rasta Hut. So, have a wonderful week. We're out. See you at the game tomorrow.
Oh, no, I understand that. Great job. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Hey, we turned 30.